Just coming on. Probably gonna be on for like an hour. See what we got. I gotta get everything all set up. So give me a minute. Let me get all my goodies set up. I never know how these things are gonna go. I had to get that Wi-Fi straight up. So we got so much to do. And you know how time is these days. You know, you're trying to get everything sorted and organized. Let me get everything all sorted out. Okay, that thing is on. Redo that up again. See how long we got this thing through. Got everybody on. And we live. Thank you for coming through. And we live. Thank you for coming through. So this one is gonna be hilarious because I seen this thing floating out here, and there've been some people actually done some videos with this. So we're gonna see if I get any people to come fishing on this one. So we're gonna see if I get any people to come fishing on this one. This one cracked me up. This one cracked me up. Cause I just got through doing the video and it's out, and cause I just got through. I saw Torre the writer. He was talking about it. I saw Torre the writer. Excuse me, and I just was like, I gotta be tripping. Excuse me, and I just was like, I gotta be tripping. I mean, really, this is like hysterical. I know, this is ridiculous. It's a LeBron, Michael Jordan, or Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, and the Michael Jackson ones are always ridiculous because they always every other week they always got somebody. They always got somebody that they're saying, oh, you didn't with Michael and this and any other, and they act like people didn't live during that time period. It wasn't that long ago. As a matter of fact, Michael Jackson was probably as popular from if you go from 69 to about early 90s. And he was selling a chunk of records. He had big hits, he had world tours, you know, everything for a while. The guy had like 3 decades deep. And people act like that just came like, oh wow. The disrespect is crazy, but I see it all the time. And I ain't gonna stand for it. You know, I hear people talking about, uh, they do that in basketball. They do it. They try to downplay. Thea Rothwell, what's up? Where you coming from today? Good to see you, TR. Thea in the house. Appreciate anybody coming through today. We just getting warmed up, just getting started. Somebody trolling already. Really? I do be wondering when they be doing the algorithms. Okay, me too. What part you from? Where you at? Where you at? Holla. It's raining out here. Was the weekend? Where's that by? Where that by? It was thundering about an hour ago. Where I'm at. It's kind of warm. I have never even heard of Wigan. I gotta Google that. Oh, okay. I get where you is. I'm closer to the Isle of Wight. I'm on the other side of London, so okay. Okay, wow, that's cool. Thank you for coming through. Hope you're having a good day. Wow, that's good. I have to check that out. I'll do a Google search on that. How's your day going? Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you. How's your day been? And how's your summer going? That's cool. Anything going on? Or you just kind of laying low? I'm always curious. I know summertime don't last that long. I know that like for summer is almost it's crazy because August is like right now we're in the middle. After this week, it's the middle. It's crazy how fast it goes. But what you up to though? I'm imagining that this poll should be pretty heated. We're looking for it. I know it's almost done. I know I can't stand the thought of it. I I think man, because May through was it late April through June was off the chain up to July, and then it kind of reality. It's funny when everybody went back to school or getting out for school. It's like, well, it's crazy. Weather don't last long, and all the people complaining about the heat, and I'm like, yo, y'all don't have no long summers. Summers go by quick. So it all depends. All depends. So yeah, it's pretty quick, and it depends on what you end up doing. Hmm. Should be really interesting. I gotta let people know that this a live stream today, so come on through. Uh, Plenty. How about yourself? It's not something because I gotta know somebody like know before I start getting into all the stuff. I don't just disclose all that. But about yourself, what's happening? How you doing? Uh, don't know. I'm not that deep. Tell me. I don't know what that means. I thought I tricked him into saying that. Ha ha ha. Hello, how you doing? Now, if you want to have a conversation with me, you can, but there's no tricking. I don't do tricks. This ain't scoop. This ain't a cereal, and this ain't pimping. So it's straight logic. But I will get you to have conversation though. I got to got stuff going on, so I'm trying to send out some notices though, and I'm just coming on. So if people want to talk, they want to talk. I'm looking forward to conversation. Decided to come on here live today. So we will be on here. We'll see what we're working with. We're gonna be on here. I'll be on here for a little while. If I get any buzz. If I don't get no buzz, I'll clap it down, but I'll be on here for a little while. So we're just listening. Okay, I sent all my notices. So we're gonna see if people come through. Send all my notices, so we're gonna let's see if people come through. And I'm gonna talk live now, so let's get to it. And I'm gonna talk live now, so let's get to it. So, like I said before, I will say this: unless you're under the age of I'll say 35, then you didn't really get to experience a lot of that Michael Jackson mania or some of it. But anybody over 35 and been watching and keeps up with the stories of the music and the impact. No, there's no way in the world Beyonce is as big as Michael Jackson. They know that that's cap. They know it ain't even true. So it cracks me up. But anyway, we're here live here today, and we got some interesting takes. So we're gonna see who comes through. I will be on for about at least another 20 plus minutes. So we'll see. We'll see if it doesn't pick up, I'll call it a half. But if it picks up, I'll go at least an hour. So we'll see. I understand we need some people to kind of come in here and rush in. So we'll see what we're working with. The people that already came on, I didn't get any more conversation, so I don't know what to say. But we will see though. Please hit them likes up. And if you want to take the poll, feel free. It's all easy. Hello, hello, how you do? How you doing? Thank you for coming through, Taylor Ellen. Where are you coming from today, if you mind me asking? I will be on today. I won't be on for the next two, but I'll be on today. I'll probably try to come back Saturday. That's the plan. And of course, I will put these videos that I've done. I got to get working on putting stuff up again. So we shall see what we work with. 60% saying yes for Beyonce. So it's still starting up. I said hello to everybody that came through, and we're just going to see if everybody comes through again. So we shall see what we got. Just getting a good fresh runner. See where everybody go. Hmm. See what we got so far. So far, it's been so quiet. So far, so 50-50. Um, uh, well, I'll tell you a story. How you doing today? So, last night, last night, Torre, the writer, I was on YouTube, and I got all this stuff was coming up that somebody from the UK, some dude was saying, "Yeah, Beyonce's bigger than Michael," and then some other cat, and I had to sit there and like, yeah, it started up again. So I guess they got tired of talking about Chris Brown versus Michael. So now it's back to the Beyonce thing. So yeah, it's out here. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. It's out here. He said the cat asked him. He said he's bigger. He said he used to have Michael party. He said, but he listens to Beyonce. But the guy tried to say for real, and I'm like, yeah, Torre, cap on you. I go back with Torre, and he's so full of it. I mean, when he was a beat writer for Rolling Stone and MTV, he's so full of it. He's so full of it. And, he tried to say Michael Jackson's got his own holiday or Halloween. Mariah's got her own. The most dominant artist of my lifetime. I tell it all the time. Now, we can debate Stevie Wonder being overall, got him beat musical. They can, folks, after all. But when we talk about dominance, because he took what James Brown did, but he took it into a vocabulary. Like I had to get into a conversation with this chick who didn't understand Michael's influence on Bobby Brown and Chris Brown and them. And I said, yeah. I said, listen to Bobby's Don't Be Cruel and listen to Chris Brown's Fine Like China. And tell me that doesn't have a Michael Jackson cadences. I said, Michael Jackson is all over. He's the DNA of pop music. Black pop music. Everybody came after him is in depth. People just don't want to hear it. And they don't want to hear when I say Madonna and Michael Jack and Prince and all of them. Well, that's a whole nother story. I mean, first of all, we don't know these people outside of what we see. And second of all, we can only go by if we like their talent or not. I don't know people enough to say. I will tell you this much. Barry White once said it best. What you see on TV ain't always what you see. So a lot of times people be acting. And what I know about the industry and how things go down, well, she doesn't have to be. But you see, the thing is they want her to be the love child of Whitney and Michael. That's what the situation is. Now, there's a lot of people she's not. You can add R. Kelly to the list because she ain't got no catalog like he got. And no matter what you think of him, she's bigger in terms of the crossover. But if you put her catalog up against his, she ain't got no Step in the Name of Love. She ain't got no Believe I Can Fly or Ignition or Bump and Grind. She ain't got nothing like that. Usher don't either. You know. There's a lot of people that are ahead of Beyonce. A lot. It's just that she's bigger. Yeah, she's bigger, but she ain't better. And there's a lot of people ahead of her. You know. You can throw Marvin Gaye in there too. There's a lot that you can throw in there. She ain't seen them. R&B, yeah, the last 30 years. Because I mean, Kale's track record speaks for itself. People don't want to hear the truth. But who else dominated R&B like he did? I mean, people can talk about D'Angelo, he's very talented. Maxwell, throw Brian McKnight, Joe, Lauren Hill. She didn't last long enough. Mary J. Blige kind of almost would be kind of considered like the female version if you were stretching, but that still wouldn't tell the tale because she didn't write her songs and she didn't have beyond her first two records. She had some big hits, but she ain't really. She hit harder when she first came with Diddy. She's got songs, but R. Kelly got careers. I mean, he was a beast. Not in the last 30 years. Not in the last 30 years. Cause that cat from '90s till now, no. And you see what it's like without him around. He was just a juggernaut. I mean, he had people, he was doing his thing. Yep, that's what I said. When she worked with Diddy, when she had his the Hitman crew, the Bad Boy crew, Chucky Thompson and them. I remember her production, Pooh and all them cats. and she was, she was bringing it. Then she got middle of the road, and then she tried to get back with Diddy in '04, and that thing was a clunker. Then when she worked with Meth, I mean, when she worked with Meth, she had it back, and that was in '95. She was dominant in the '90s. She was, she had a real run. She had hits, but people act like you forget. So good, 57%. Could be a real interesting poll. I want you to see this poll though, because you're gonna see what I'm. Yeah, but some people be lying. They capping out here. They know good and well Beyonce shouldn't even be close in this poll. This is hilarious. No, well, see, Faith was the writer. Faith was actually the teacher to Mary, and Faith wrote a lot of stuff behind the scenes. She wrote on Mary. And actually, just the other way around. Mary had the career. Faith had the game, pen, and all that. Faith just didn't have no personality to sell it. Remember, she married Biggie. She worked with everybody on the label. Now, Faith got a little pen game to her, and she could sing. He wasn't focused too much on her. He went with him. He went where he was. Because Faith was still signed directly with the Arrester and the Bad Boy. He lost Mary, went into Uptown. He had no say on Mary. It's kind of like Diddy to Mary is kind of like Russell Simmons with Run DMC. They connected, but then they weren't. So it's a whole lot of, it's an interesting juggle there. But, it's a strange business. And once you understand it, it's a lot to mop out. We at 50% now. Yep. Well, the problem is that for the hype she gets, 35 Grammys. I'm like, if you got all that and you the most decorated award on the Grammys and all that, you should have, I expect some songs in the kid life off the wall with a thrilling. I expect 2 or 3 classic albums. I expect at least 5 to 10 songs that we all know by heart and 2 or 3 memorable performances. And she doesn't check none of my boxes. She checks none of my boxes. Beyonce is a lot like LeBron James to me. It's been around a long time and got a benefit of the doubt, got over at a different time. But against with the real, not even close. And I crack up at how delusional people are because they will actually have arguments with you and say, oh, well, I'm like, well, forget I was around when I saw what I saw. She doesn't have a Like a Virgin type of song. Material Girl. There's about 2 songs I really like on that album. That was a bit. Now Riders wasn't even crazy about that record, but I know what you mean. Oh no, she can't see Madonna's catalog for a second hit song. No. You can learn a lot in walking in the park with Madonna knowing how to get a hit song. Because Madonna, this used to be my playground, like a prayer, like a virgin, Papa Don't Preach, Holiday, Vogue. She knew how to give you that song. She knew how to give you that song. That's why don't come at me about how talented somebody is if they don't have, because you got to have the songs to match of all the talent in the world. What's happening? Welcome aboard. Appreciate everybody coming through. Keep hitting that, smashing up that like, and feel free to take the poll question. Even if they don't respect, they know who you are. Like they can sit there and say, yeah, you did this, you did this, you did that. Beyonce, unless you a diehard fan, Joe and Mary Casual might give you Crazy in Love and Single Ladies. And And the Destiny's Child music, they're not a lot. That's what I'm saying. That's how the rules were back in the day. That's how the rules were back in the day. I tell the reason why I come up with how dominant Michael Jackson was. I tell it like this: you fell into three categories with Michael. You either loved him and you bought all his stuff twice and three times. You liked him and you bought his music and others, and you couldn't stand him, and you made sure whoever your favorite was, you bought them because you had to go through Michael Jackson. I thought Bills was corny. I liked was it Girl? Was it one song that Girl? They had a they had a couple songs I liked, but it wasn't nothing that I thought. Like if you ask me who was the better 90s vocal group, I mean the girl group, I'm taking, yeah, I like Girl. Cater to You was cute. Survivor was good for what it was. I like Girl a lot, I like the vocals. Bootylicious was catchy. But I thought I like TLC better. And it, because you remember I'm trying to think. No, 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 no. What was the one that blew them up when they worked with Wycliffe? It took them a while to catch on because I remember they almost went cold. People don't remember. They didn't really get the big move to the second one. Yep. And then Vogue was better. See, she didn't even dominate with the girl group thing, if you want my honest opinion. And if I'm being honest. But it was the remix that blew them up because they worked with Wycliffe. That was the one that got turned their fortunes around. I remember when she did that corny movie with Marcus Houston back then. They were in some corny movie. Well, that's when Wycliffe right there was his apex. He couldn't do no wrong from, was it 90, the score? I said from what, 96 to about 99, he couldn't do no wrong. Then he fell off bad. Yeah, she did that with Most Def. And I think Robert Townsend directed it. They had her doing different things, you know. And see, that's the thing. If people wanted to use her during movies and stuff like that against Michael, they don't even do that because they know that would get ate up. She ain't never done nothing that was that distinctive. He did The Wiz, but she's had more movies though. He had cameos, but she didn't really thrive in it. She was corny in that Austin Powers mess. Her movies are over the top, sure. Yeah, that's what I always say. Hello, how you doing? I ain't never said she didn't because that's what everybody says. I'm doing all right. How you doing? Where you coming from? I never said she didn't. As a matter of fact, the people that work with her said the same exact thing about it. That just though I've also heard them say they weren't really that blown away by the music. I've heard that too. She worked with some musicians, some female musicians. Yeah, she tried to do that over the top theatrical piece, which Jennifer J. Hood beat her for the Oscar. She tried hard too. She tried hard with everything. She doesn't really have. She has a look and image, and she was in the one about Chess Records where she played Etta James. She's just stiff though. Well, thank you very much for the compliment. Where you coming from today? Appreciate the words. All right, what's up? If you want to, I never turn down one. Well, a lot of it is because their parents don't teach them nothing. Also, the industry. Yeah, I know what that means. Yeah, if you want to throw one up, feel free. I will welcome it. I never turn it down. I'll give you a shout out. And if you want to subscribe to the channel and you duh. Duh. Yeah. Yeah, by all means. I mean, I won't turn it down. I mean, I don't do monopoly. So, but if anybody wants to donate, I always say feel free. I mean, I set agendas, so but anyway, I gotta. Well, don't say you're gonna do something you don't do it. I'm not begging nobody, but you know, anybody wants to do that, they do that. Anyway, let me answer this question real quick that Charlene said. I think they know good. I think this because of their parents and of course the industry. The industry's done a disservice with sampling and looping. Um, they've done a disservice to the younger minds of and also to the older minds. Then let me to explain. Older generation didn't tolerate sampling and looping, just like the younger ones. So you got a whole era who's allowed a whitewash of what they knew to be done into a loop and a sample and to accept that and to say, okay, I'm cool with it. And then downplay the significance of the people that actually put the work in. That's what happened with R&B, especially with the funk bands and everything, because all the sampling and the looping took over. So now when you see the bands, you're like, people got thinking that other people are covering people's songs. They don't do the history. We used to do our due diligence to know where the songs came from with the writing. It's not done like that no more, and it shows. So, you know, so that's problematic. But that's like I said, that's what people want the industry to do. Um, I was fortunate enough to come around the time period we had albums. We would study the craft. We would listen. We were fans, but we also like if you wanted to play and you listen to radio and you do all that. They don't do that no more. So it's a different juggernaut. But I blame that on the industry. And I do say they do it racially too. They don't do that to what they don't do that to the Beatles and Elvis and the Sinatra. They would never disrespect them the way black bands and people have gotten disrespected. And that's a fact. So okay. That's a fact. That's what I just got through saying because we don't like when we have bands, people that actually play and sing. They're like, oh, because I remember there was an interview with Snoop Dogg, and he was talking about Prince, and he was like, oh, he play all them instruments and stuff, and he made that sound like it was a crime. I mean, I was like, you old school cat, but you see that what you trying to do, but yet you in that video doing the Windows Cry type video, but you up there. See, the thing is, and this is the problem I have with a lot of hip hop. I'm not saying that you have an MPC player and 808 and all that you because you gotta, turntables and stuff. I've seen up close and personal. But something about playing the keyboard, something about knowing how to make music, creating, writing out lyrics, writing out a groove, actually working on tempo, that's a lost art. And now these turkeys came around with push buttons, sequencers, and they were able to just like go over a cut and take a riff and a groove and make a life out of it. And they want to be treated like they geniuses. And I am appalled by that. I remember Will Smith back in the 80s was saying James Brown should be happy that we sampling his music. And in one hand, it's a tribute to what his music meant, But on the other hand, it's a diss because James Brown never got compensated for the half of what was sampled. James Brown would have been like Bill Gates if he got a dime for every time someone sampled him. Because that is one of the 10 most impactful people from head to toe. Maybe probably top 5 in my lifetime. So it's just a dope. It's just the way it hits. So I don't, you know, I watch these sort of things and I see how they played out. And what you said is absolutely true. It's 100%. We don't really hype our own for his greatness. We look at it in terms of monetary. We don't look in terms of just the hard what it was. Because if we looked at it beyond monetary, there was nowhere in the world they'd be able to contain. They'd be begging us to leave the United States. Anywhere. They'd be like, going back. Yeah. And she sampled James Brown. She sampled James Brown. Papa don't take no mess. Because Jimmy Jam did the sampling. Jimmy Jam took the drums. He took that. And that's probably her last great song as far as I'm concerned. But it's because of the whole vocal vibe. It had a Sade vibe about it. Might be the best song Sade ain't done in the last 25 years, if you want my honest opinion. I really did like that song a whole lot. Thought it was smooth, had a feel good vibe to it. But I remember the whole cadence and stuff. Funny story about That's the Way Love Goes. The story is that Chuck D, who ended up working with Janet on that album, told Jimmy Jam that should be the first single to be released. Because it was clearly a money track. And it sounded good. I remember when it came out in 93. I rocked that thing. Probably the last song I heard that I was like bumping on. Okay, let's get some combo going. We got 10 in. We got more people taking the poll, so that's good. I always like it when I see double figures. That lets me know. Yeah. Well, Michael Owen, thank you for letting me be myself. He is the master, so that's what. And that bass riff is the bass riff, so it worked. Most of these songs are like 6 degrees of separation when you listen to them. Oh yeah, it was so last night. RC, I was coming on YouTube, and I was just kind of like just stroll, and all of a sudden, all this thing about Beyonce and Michael Jackson and Torre and all. I was like, oh, what? Really? Really? They starting that up again? Because they got tired of the Chris Brown, Michael Jackson thing. So they said, well, let's go with the B. Let's get Beyonce back. Because now she got a new album coming out. And I think she's going to be doing a rock based album. You know, every time she does some grand project that she actually think I'll try this. She is so gimmicky, it's not even funny. You know. And what's going to happen when her gimmicks are over? Coming up with laughable records that don't work. That's how I feel. And you're right. And you're spot on because I don't even think about it, but the actual arrival of her on the mainstream was what, 96, 96, 97, like when that, so it's been around 30 years. And her solo career, Bonnie and Clyde with Jay-Z 02, and then if you did the solo career is almost 25 years. So she's been around. And I ain't felt all that for all the hype she gets. Mixed. Thought it was cute. Some stuff was all right. You know, it's never too late or early, but I think the problem is that she wants to be seen for her legacy. See, the thing is that the problem when you're doing it is that you're trying to make yourself like you're more than what you are, as opposed to just letting the music speak for itself. Like if she dropped a straightforward album where she was channeling Roberta Flack right now and did some songs like that, or Brenda Russell, somebody could write some songs behind her, then you'd be like, oh wow. But everything with her is so programmed. See, she took the commercialized elements of what Michael Jackson and Whitney done, except forgot the song. She forgot the most important part. And that's the fine line right there. So, but her audience doesn't care. Yeah, because you run out of ideas because you ain't doing it the right way. And, nope. And funny you mentioned that too, because NDRE got bumped off the road by Alicia Keys because of what you just said. I got that on good authority. Because you remember, they came out around the same time. And I remember when Brown Skin came out and they bumped her off. Because Indy was big for a moment, but they put that money behind Alicia Keys. So, yes. Well, it's all rock and roll. I mean, that's just another term. Rock and roll is black music. It's just, yeah, she trying to stay appealable. And that's why they got her daughter. They pushing the agenda with their daughter and all that. I get all that. And she ain't hardly old, but she getting long in the tooth where she's sounding desperate, and that's what's gonna make her age her more than anything. And I think that putting out all this stuff, especially when they don't hit like that, you know, because I know you're gonna hurry and get your 10 albums out and get your greatest hits package out and all that. And then, the I'm Your Baby Tonight record. I had that on tape. She worked with LA and Babyface and Luther Vandross and Stevie Wonder. She caught some backlash from Clive Davis because she wanted more R&B. She didn't like what was being projected about her, so she did that. Yeah, I had that one. I remember. We Didn't Know was her duet with Stevie Wonder, which I liked that song at the time. LA and Babyface, my name is not Susan. And what was the one she did with Luther? It was alright. The song with Luther was alright. But I like We Didn't Know though. But she could do no wrong back then though. I mean, the woman put out records that sold. Yeah, okay. She was like a big time seller. Huge impact. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna be honest with you. Whitney's one of my favorite female artists ever. I think she's great. But a lot on some of them songs is because she had the pipes and she knew how to utilize them and make them work. Oh yeah. But everybody didn't listen to her music. Some people were kind of like nonchalant because her big songs were big. And she had some songs that were kind of, cornball. I still like what she did with Kashif on her debut album. That's the kind of stuff I like. The ones that don't get no love. Thinking about you. That was my cut. What's happening, Tom? Thank you for coming through. I was not really big on her album artistry like that. To be honest with you, my her first album was my favorite. Um, Second album was cool. Third album had some moments, and then of course the body got all the soundtracks, and then the fourth album. Well, the only reason why he can say that is because they have because Beyonce used the blueprint before doing movies and soundtracks and songs that hit big. But that's the only way he can say that. But he can't say that she hit Whitney Houston's levels. She never took a greatest love of all or I always love you and make a remake of it and then blow that thing through the roof in two different decades and eras. He can't say that because the greatest love of all was big in '86 off her debut, and then the I always love you in '92. That's two different decades. That's a 6 year gap. Beyonce ain't got nothing like that. Because if she was, believe me, she'd be taking more time with more. She wouldn't have to go to gimmick ball, and she's trying gimmicky ball. Plus, Whitney Houston usually put people who could sing, and she worked with people on her records. Beyonce up there having Miley Cyrus and Post Malone on her records is corny. As far as listen to their music, I would probably tell you Prime Anita, but Whitney was the better artist. But Anita made the ruckus that I like. Depends like the whole like that songstress. Whitney had the range, and Whitney had stuff that I love. I listen to Whitney more, but Anita had the albums that I listened to. So that's how I would word it. I told you I don't get caught up. But there is no. This ain't drink champs. I don't do drink because I can pick one or the other. No, I can't say that. No, Miley doesn't do nothing for me. She just done. It's a cute act. Back in the day when there was the singer Tiffany, that's what Miley was like. I remember. No, I don't tell now. And that was a waste of a track with Gaga. Gaga should be bigger than what she is too. Naturally. I think this live stream will do quite crazy numbers too, because I got a feeling that. Mhm. Keep hitting that like button up too. Feel free to hit them likes up. No, I can't give Taylor Swift no juice. Can't do it. Listen, Beyonce's better than a lot of stuff. Oh, when she did Earth, Wind, and Fire September, that pretty much put her in place. Her and Sabrina Carpenter doing Earth, Wind, and Fire songs. You think I don't be watching what goes on in these streets? Just because I'm an R&B dude and I'm aware of what goes on in these streets. I heard her trying to do September. Uh-huh. Stick with Travis Kelsey in the stands. Don't try to do September. Same thing with Sabrina Carpenter. I saw her on stage Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah, and it shows too. Because this is Milky Magnesia. Soulless, the soulless twins. They didn't leave Earth, Wind, and Fire out there. Taylor Swift, if I was going back in time, there was an artist named Juice Newton playing with the Queen of Hearts. Taylor Swift would have been like, well, from the back when I was on mute, her and Shakira, I remember that when they wiggled on the, but not trying to perform, not front wise, but when she and Shakira shake from the back, yeah. Taylor Swift back in the day would have been like a third tier elementary school teacher playing guitar, and that's basically what it would have been like. Shake It Off was like one of her songs. And she had that one cut she did with Kendrick, but she's a rhythmless. And Sabrina's just, you know, plays dumb. But she tries to play everybody's songs and she can't sing. I keep her butt on mute. We know she's one of the worst artists ever. We know she's more geared towards OnlyFans. I already said that's how she get her career back. Don't sing, just turn your back and let OnlyFans do the talking. Don't say nothing. That's the only way she'll blow up again. It was decent, but I wasn't like I heard anything from her where I go, oh, she's like, because I've listened to her music. She's a basic guitar player. She's an okay singer and some okay songs, which are okay. Aretha Franklin was colder. Aretha Franklin said the best thing she liked about Taylor Swift was her gowns. That was colder. I ain't see it voice improve where with dog whistling. I ain't heard nothing she done. Madonna, because Madonna did do the "Crazy for You" was better than anything Jennifer Lopez ever did vocally. Better than anything, not even close. Oh, I'm sure she's got about 20, 30%. It's not a lot, but there's some that like her. I understand popularity. I get that. But you asking me, and then let's just get this straight. Any time in my life, back in the day as a teen, cornball acts were treated as cornball. Shit, bro, that sound like a personal problem. I don't think Taylor Swift would have been able to hang with Cyndi Lauper. Now I know she wouldn't, because Cyndi Lauper wrote better songs. I know that for a fact. And she was considered mediocre for her time, but she wrote better songs. You know. And like I said before, if you ask me, if you don't want to know the truth, then don't ask. But she's mediocre though. To look at when she's, you know, when she's saying she flew a certain way, but she sucks. Come on now. She's a homogenized, another homogenizer. Marginal. The dark hair is cool. There's nothing about her talent wise. Oh, you talking about Deborah Harry? Oh well, we don't even no, put nobody like that. People come from different eras or they got different things that they on about. And I tell you, I like to get people's popularity and I like to understand it. It's a matter of choice. You talking about Taylor Swift's album. I've heard her records. It's not like I haven't heard her records. I've heard her music. See, before I go and spew my thoughts, Taylor Swift, she marginal. Demi Lovato is below marginal. I ain't when you mention that's almost like bringing up Jennifer Love Hewitt's singing career. Jennifer Love Hewitt looking good these two too, by the way. But when you be bringing up mediocrity, like paint dry type people, and you like, ooh, and I'm like, they paint dry. It's like watching paint dry. I can't. Cause Taylor Swift, cause Gaga tried to do too much. She went into dual roles putting the meat on her. She was trying to chase Madonna. See, Gaga came out the gate hot. The early era of her, uh, when she first came out, but then she got born this way, crap, Jack and Madonna, and she just got the antics. That's what her talent wise, she runs circles around Swift. Gaga can play melody and groove, and Gaga can sing, and Gaga can do the Nora Jones thing in her sleep. Okay, and a better actress, got an orthodox appeal, all that, but she does too much. And the last record she came out with, trying to have an 80s vibe, it just didn't happen. Yep. They were. That's what I'm saying. And Taylor Swift can't see those. She can't see that. And then think about it. Gaga turned around and did some big hit with Bruno Mars last year. So think about that. Taylor Swift doesn't do that. That's what Gaga need to be doing. That's where she channels her best energy from. But she didn't learn the Madonna playbook. I remember. Akon discovered her. That's what it was. She was on his label. Oh yeah. Listen, I like Gaga's talent. She just doesn't utilize it the right way. That's all. She could have been running the industry. Had the persona, had the charisma, has the chops. Just doesn't get the results. She runs circles around most of everybody. But if you ask me who was better out of her and Bruno Mars, I'd give Bruno the edge because Bruno knows how to keep a hit, and Bruno knows how to balance and bop and weave in more circles. Gaga, it just like she's trying too hard. Some things work, some things don't. I was aware of her when she came out because that whole thing with Kanye, and I was like, "What's he going picking on this ant farm head chick for? What's up?" I already know. I said if you watched her, they got her when she was in high school. She did a cameo on The Sopranos back in '02. If you get a chance, Gaga doing the Nora Jones, she was doing all that. She more talented than what she leads on. She did the tributes to Tony Bennett. They did those projects together. But you'll never get the totality of her. Some of it's because it doesn't sell, and part of it because of the industry and because how she is. You gotta have a pen to be pull off the lopper though. Cindy Lauper could write. If you're gonna do Cindy Lauper, you gotta have your pen game. She ain't crushed Shania. See, Shania Twain makes it look effortlessly because her voice loans itself between country, pop, and adult contemporary. So Shania understood. She, you know. Well, I listened to it. I listened to it when it first came out. I was on YouTube, as a matter of fact. But I didn't really like. I heard it. It's a little bit better than the Renaissance record. But the problem is that calculating type of records just don't work. She's trying too hard. No, I didn't say she was. I said Shania was able to pull off because Shania's voice loaned itself. Of course, we don't listen for Shania to do anything with no up tempo either. So, all due respect. I like some of Shania's back in the day. I like certain things she did. She's good. Good. You know. She had commercial appeal, but so did Faith Hill though. I know. That's how standard behavior is. People go through it. But I'm gonna let you be known. I don't stand for nobody. I'm a big time Michael Jackson fan, but I ain't gonna sit up here and tell you he couldn't do no wrong. I'm a big time Stevie Wonder fan. I'm gonna tell you he couldn't do no wrong. No, R. Kelly, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin. You name whoever I like. I ain't got nobody that I sit there and say that they not above it. The problem with Beyonce for me is that it just doesn't come off authentic. That's my knock. She oversings. She has underwritten songs, and it doesn't come across. And that's another thing too. She's an attractive woman, but she doesn't have any depth. It's just cold. They all do. They all do. What's up, TSP? Thank you. Yeah, TSP. I was on last night and some turkeys spew this thing up and it took off like wildfire. So I thought I'd have to like get. Now people looking for something. See, I know we got all this technology, we got all this access, and people want to feel like they got something to brag about because it's happening. She hasn't evolved. That's the key word right there. That's exactly where I'm getting at. Because she doesn't know how to, because she doesn't have no A&R, and she ain't had nobody. Her daddy got her on board with writing and getting her, but she ain't had no drive, not like that. Well, Madonna came with a purpose. She was driven. She didn't have the talent. Janet evolved with the right team and understood that. Yeah, I could give you that. But you see, his voice got him over. His voice got him over, and he fought. He was like a boxer. He was like a flawed fighter, but he knew how to hit a combination on you, and that's what got him over. You know, Pac's Pac's strength though was his. He had that voice, and he understood how to utilize it, and his nuances, and his. He just had a way that you felt him. You felt his urgency. So that's why he had a clever enough reference, and he did. He had the right kind of songs too, because that's what she knows. That's got to sell tickets. But if you're doing the same, like Muhammad Ali said, if you're the same person you were at 20 as you are at 50, you done wasted 30 years of your evolution. And that's how I look at her as an artist. It's 30 years of a waste. Because she ain't got no more depth in her. Granted, she's taking care of herself, but, you know, there's none. Because the pen game never stood up, you know. I'd have her do some standard songs. I'd have her do some standard R&B songs with a band, strip it down, and clean it up. That's what I'd do. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. They would have, but it wouldn't have mattered because nobody was sweating her music career. She was going towards film. She was actually doing what Tupac. She's gonna be bigger in the film game. I like Rock the Boat, but I didn't think Aaliyah was going to It wasn't gonna make a difference. She had already hit her peak. No one was buying her records before she passed. Let's keep that 100. That's what she was gonna be, like a female version of Tupac. Her film career was gonna take off. She would have made music, but it wouldn't have been like when she worked with R. Kelly and when she worked with Timbaland and Missy. She hit her peak. She couldn't. She wasn't gonna top what she came out with, and the she wasn't going to. She would have probably had maybe a million seller go record, but she wasn't gonna have like this comeback where people like, oh, it just wasn't in the cards. So I don't think it would have hit like that for her. I remember very well that nobody was checking for her albums. I know that for a fact. So, and I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. I'm just keeping it 100. When people come at me and talk about, well, so and so had they lit high, they would have gone. I said, well, see, she didn't have a Tupac situation. Sierra didn't have no talent. Yo, stop. Aside from that, putting her leg in her near her neck and that dance she did, she was a triple junior whopper Janet Jackson. Broke, 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 broke. And she worked with Jazzy Faye. And 808, that whole thing was happening at that time. And then she faded because she couldn't sing. She didn't become a nice wife, and she's more known for being with Russell Wilson and have some personality. Nobody want to hear her singing no more. She tried to do a ant, something she did. She needs a better voice. She can't sing. No one's wasting their time with Sierra though. I I bought the first. I didn't, you know. She was a producer based act. And that's how the best thing I can say about her. No, she could dance. I like her dancing. She dances. You know, if you put her and Amarian and Chris Brown together, you'd have a great dance troupe. Who's the best singer of the three? I think that's what gets lost in the whole sauce. You get some acts that can dance, and they get a couple catchy songs. That doesn't make you great. That means you had a couple hits. But there's a whole lot of fine lining. She's not a singer, a writer. That's about it. As a funny story, I was on Instagram last night, and some turkey was dancing to Icebox by Omarion, and Omarion was in the video dancing behind him locking. I says, where you belong. I keep it 100. Oh, I'm gonna keep it 100 if you come on this channel. Cause we know there were a lot of acts back in the day that wouldn't even that today they came out, they'd be bigger. Back in the day, they were lucky to get half the curtain before they got the curtain pulled on them. Overrated. Overrated. A nice homogenized girl who learned a few, can play a little bit of Chopin, play a little bit, to play a little bit of run a couple notes on the piano, bad singing. Ah, I won't forget that thing with Usher. That was embarrassing. I like my favorite song by Martin was Entourage. I like that jam. He just couldn't sing to save his life, but he had some catchy melodic things, like when he worked with R. Kelly B2K. He just was plain and dull. Could dance, didn't have no job. Khalees was the more interesting. Ashanti had the pen that I like, but Alicia had the career. That's kind of how it goes. Khalees was the more interesting of the three. Ashanti had the pen, and Alicia had the career. Just like that. Some people want it all. I got you. No. Did you hear that note she did with Usher? And there is a video clip when she did New York, New York on stage with Jay-Z and Broadway. He said, "Don't mess that note up." He called her out. Now, when you got a rapper telling you don't hit that, mm. Only thing I said about Khalees is Khalees was interesting of the three. I didn't say, she was interesting. Ashanti had a little pen game, but Alicia Keys had the career. So basically, what that means in a blender, if you mix all three of them up, you might get a halfway decent drink. But left to their own devices, that's going to be kind of flat. That's how I described all three of them. Yeah, but Olivia ain't getting no money pulled. See, she ain't getting no money pulled. And you don't get no money pulled, you get on a milk carton. You see, that's the one way I have to tell you. You be wondering what happened to some of these people. They be on the milk carton because there ain't no money in there. Yeah, but she didn't. You know, Alicia Keys did some other things. So allegedly. Oh God, Alicia Keys, but that's by default. Rihanna ain't no singer. What? She's got a good catalog. And I will say this about Rihanna. She is versatile because work. Because her music allows her to be blend, when you can do different things. But she ain't. And I remember that corny Millwall. No, entertainer is part of being an artist. Stop this notion that you just an entertainer like you at the circus and you're throwing balls in the air and no, it's all encompasses all of that. And if I use that as a criteria, she ain't that memorable. I did say the Super Bowl performance was decent considering she was pregnant. However, she doesn't entertain me that well. She can't sing. She can't dance. I saw that attempted drunk moonwalk she did, and I cracked up. No, she is a charismatic, she's attractive woman with some catchy songs. Cause she was the ringtone queen. The smartest thing she did is that knowing your limit, knowing when to say when. She know what she was no great artist. She got some hits and she knew when to get out. She wasn't, she was big during the ringtone era, which is one of the biggest disses you can do because that means for 10 seconds you're gold. For 3 minutes and 10 seconds you're mud. So she was smart. And if you invest wise and you know your limitations, you're good. It was a clip of hers, and she got up there and she started, and it was a bad look. I'll give you that because Rihanna had the streets. I had a buddy of mine who had younger daughters in the late OOs, and them girls was all about Rihanna because Rihanna had the jacket. Rihanna had the it, you know. So I understood that. Mm-mm. But when you asking, I'm gonna tell you what I think. Yeah, I can say this. Two things can be true. Beyonce's the better talent, but Rihanna had more going for her with what she was able to do. She was able to do an umbrella, work, and she had some catchy stuff that worked for her range, and she hit with Eminem. She had some catchy stuff that worked. We Found Love. She had a couple songs that worked. She was more versatile. Okay. And let's see if I get anybody else coming through. Stick on for another minute too. Oh God, this is horrible. Of them three, vocally, Nevia, because when she did that "Don't Mess with My," and the one song she did with and I like Laundromat, but Nevia when she worked with Jagged Edge, I like that by default. Yeah, she's got personality. Oh, that's why I said she definitely got something about her that work. You ain't got to be the best singer, nothing like that, I tell you, but you got something. I'll give you that. She was dry, dry, dry. Had the right look though. Like she would have for his imagery. See, and that's the problem with me. My memory be good. And then people like, where'd you see that from? And I like, because that thing used to be like a meme. Meme. People used to put that on a meme. And I cracked up. I was like, oh Lord. It was bad. You know. Cause but she did consider she was pregnant at the Super Bowl. She was, you know, she did pretty good far as that. But I don't talk about Rihanna. I don't waste my time with jive acts. If you're talking about Aretha Franklin, she made a bad album. If you're talking about if you're talking about Rihanna, she never made an album the half of Aretha Franklin. So I hope you're talking about somebody that's legendary. You know, I'm never that biased about nobody. Don't. See, there comes a point in time in life you know better. There's times you can get away with some stuff, times you can't. People that of a certain age and time when it, it it's like this. If you grew up watching the real, you saw the real, you heard the real, you ain't settling for a second tier, third tier, rewarded down. So I'm not gonna sit here in front on the audience. If people ask, I'm gonna tell them what it is. Uh, Dancing like you need to go find a bathroom or something. It was bad. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal. But like I said before, for the ringtone, what she was able to do and keep a couple of catchy songs, I'll give her due on that. Yeah. I didn't have to sing like that. I'm just saying. I'm going to start Diana Ross because she was the front lead. She had that it. I'm going to bench Gladys Knight and I'm cutting Patti LaBelle. Diana Ross, you gotta start her because of the Supremes, the greatest female front lead singer. You got to start her, and she can perform and she can do that. Gladys Knight can sing, got the cuts. Patti LaBelle got to sit. And I like Patti LaBelle, but I don't love Patti LaBelle. Like her stuff, like her voice, not the right songs. She over sings them, underperforms them. Things never worked out. Oh, Rihanna got fans from day one. I know. Yeah, because she doesn't have the catalog that those others two have. She's a better singer than Donna Ross. She's not a better singer than Gladys Knight, but she doesn't have Donna Ross's catalog. And she sure as heck can't touch Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight got three different eras. You got the Motown era, you got the Buddha Records, and then you got Columbia. Mm, Rita got a better catalog, deeper songs. I go by the songs, I go by the impact and the vibe. Patti LaBelle is not on that wavelength. Like her, but she doesn't hit like them. When I get asked that, I got to keep it 100. But again, that's just how I look at it. Yes, I do. Soulful. Where's Patti LaBelle's Midnight Train to Georgia? Where's her on and on? Because Gladys got soul. Put Midnight Train to Georgia on and then put Patti LaBelle and let me know. No, I grew with Aretha. Aretha got played a whole lot more because Aretha was more versatile. Way more versatile. Because Aretha uh, did the concerto for Pavarotti in 98. Remember that? On the Grammys? And she had a hit song with A Rose is Still a Rose working with Lauryn Hill. When could Patti LaBelle flip that like that? You're doing opera. You filling in. You're filling in for Pavarotti, and you got a hit song with Lauryn Hill. Vocally, Gladys Knight got her beat. Gladys Knight got soul that I like. Gladys Knight's one of my favorite female vocalists ever. Sometimes Patti LaBelle be screeching. Whitney Houston. I like Anita's voice, but I love Whitney Houston's, especially Peak and Prime. It's not even close. It's just that Anita Baker got like the kind of albums that I would listen to, especially the Rapture album. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this is even better than that. When I was a kid, first jazz artist I understood was Duke Ellington. Okay? But pretty before I was 10. And about Nat King Cole. Cats, people who had predated me. So when you went back and you listened and you understood what they were doing, and then you see what the industry did with all the sampling, the looping, and the gimmicky ball that they've been played, you're not gonna get fooled by this mess they pulling out. One of the baddest key organ players. And he just did a little teeny, got only like a little teeny 20, 30 seconds on Michael Jackson's Bad. That teeny, that tint organ. So Jim Smith with Wes Montgomery stuff was banging. That's some, if you can have barbecue sauce if you're a vegetarian, vegan. You got to have barbecue sauce Jimmy Smith because that's what it sounds like. That cat cooked on an organ. I call it the bam board. He tore a bam board up. Sure did. So, but again, that's like I said, different era, different time. When people act like they not aware, that's why I call cap on them. Especially if you grew up when you knew what it was like. And there may be somebody comes along that you got to tip your cap to, and you give them they do, and that's true. Every generation era's got that. However, to sit there and act like that what you got is so much better when the competition was a lot thicker and deeper is cap. It's cap. Oh yeah. It's just that you gotta remember something. They didn't get no blow up. It took a while. They were doing a lot of session work. They did a lot of this and that. They was doing the same thing that Najee was doing. Miles J was doing. Uh, Kenny G ended up doing. Different acts were doing it. Yeah, nice sax. So he has a cool sax groove. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Butler too. A lot of acts. I guess by that logic, Will Downing would be considered that too. So, okay. Let's keep these likes coming. See all we got. As I said, I won't be back on until Saturday. Thing goes right. But I wanted to get a nice lengthy one in here today. Appreciate everyone that's coming through too. I'm starting James Ingram. A huge James Ingram fan. I guess I'll bench Christopher Williams because he's got a bit more personality because he can perform. I like Glenn Jones, but that's the two. But James Ingram gonna start. He's better than both them two cats put together. Because I don't think people realize how deep James Ingram is. He's like 2-1. The cat, what I know about James Ingram, his wail when he goes, ooh, he did a little vocal wail. That was used as riffs, like an opening for songs. That wail he did. And he could play too. So he's really one of the most unsung acts. Christopher Williams, I like his voice. He still sounds good. James Ingram in a blowout. But I will say this. I am going to say this. If you listen to Billy Ocean's one of them nights, the funk stuff that he did, it makes him a lot closer. Not that corny stuff, Caribbean Queen, but the funky in him. But Ingram got to be Ingram over Peebo. Ingram over Peebo. And I would say in the battle, what I call the second tier artist, but I got Ingram over Peebo. People had like moments and stuff that I like. But they end up pretty much being the same certain way that they end up hitting with the working with Linda Ronstadt, you know. But James had more groove in him though. And James Ingram wrote PYT. People never really reached that for nobody else as a writer. But I like People though. He's good. He's always in the good though. Not great. Well, I no. One of the nights I feel like dancing is my Billy Ocean. You needed that 1981 when he had that crazy fro. Universal U.S. R. Kelly and Mary J. And he ain't got no catalog. I bought his stuff. The cat's talented, but he's also just it's missing. Remember he did that performance on BT some years ago, and half the audience was feeling, and the other half was kind of like because Beyonce was moving. He's like an after school special that should have been a big movie that just didn't quite get to the finish line. Hey, who stayed working? Who stayed working? Me and Mariah, I listened to her ruckus, but pretty much after that we belong together, I stopped messing with her. I like Maxwell, but let's be real. Who wrote his last? Who was the last big song that really? I know the Pretty Wings was cut, but the real one was Fortunate with him and R. Kelly. Think about it. I like Get to Know You, and I like this woman's work, but he really, come on now. He was like unstoppable, unfadable for like 95. That luxury culture thing was mixed. But 95 to about 99, that's when we was in the Maxwell zone. And it's all right. But we ain't where we were with him. We were in a different. Oh, get you in the mood. The Chicago Stepping Smooth, Mac Daddy. Tyrone Davis was good. Good act. Good act. I'm very familiar with Tyrone Davis. Me and Mariah, she can write all right, but to me, it didn't get to where it's supposed to. To me, it's a lot of Arrested Development. Good singer, wails too much on some of them notes. Production was pretty middle of the road. I think she had some decent B sides and she had some remixes was cool, but we never got, you know, it was pretty safe. We were pretty safe. Not somebody that I would say is great. Not somebody that I thought was a game changer. And the new stuff sucks. So I'll say it like this: Jill Scott got the better voice, Badu got the better music for me. But neither one of them got to their full totality. Jill Scott could have been like Anita Baker for her generation. Could have been. Didn't keep up the work ethic. You know, had the chance, just didn't work at it. And then she went kind of, Mariah. I already said about Mariah. I don't mess with Mariah. And I was talking about Badu and Jill Scott. Badu got the songs I like more. Jill got the voice. It sucks. I heard that garbage and I act like I didn't know it. She trying to mess with Anderson Paak and it it sounds like she was messing with Pac-Man because she got gobbled. I will give anybody that's been around with what average should and was big as a team, bigger than Beyonce and bigger than Britney. Just didn't translate to when she got grown. Had some hits, and there's all this mess about a vocal bar was hilarious. I wouldn't call it epic. I don't use epic and Mariah Carey in the same sentence. Cute act with some cute songs. Nothing that I sit and go, "Ooh, gaga, Google" over. Catchy, understands what she's doing, but you know, Mariah just is always one of those kind of people that's like, okay. No, Brandy was big with Moesha and Know What You Did Last Summer and with the Whitney movie and the albums. But and then she had that hit with Kanye. It was 0304. She had, and she had that full moon with Dark Child with Rodney Jerkins did it, but it didn't it came, it went. I liked her first record probably the best when she was funky. Baby, baby, you're so fine. And sitting up in my room. She had a couple bops, but it had no depth. And let me just cut to the chase since when her no talent, jive, hustling hack of a brother is bigger than she is for the last 20 years because she did a video with Kim Kardashian. We really don't have nothing to say. We really don't have nothing to say about Brandy. Case dismissed. I'm gonna drop the mic on that because that's a fact. Her brother's been bigger than her, and he don't have a pinky of a talent she does. So that tells you that she just really ain't. She don't have no appeal. I liked all her stuff pretty much as a kid act. And she was okay as adult. But ain't nobody been sweating herself for people be wanting this brandy Bible crap that they try to say the brandy's a vocal Bible. Hey, look, it's been what, 15, 20 years? 20 years, 20 plus years. Nobody sweating her. No one talked about Brandy since LimeWire was in these streets in MySpace, okay? And even then, she was like almost an oldies but goodies. Her heyday, Brandy's heyday, was back when Napster was out, okay? That's when Brandy's heyday was, okay? That don't mean nothing. What we supposed to do is wait a minute. He had 3 songs that were hits, but he still sucks though. Brandy ain't there no more. You can have a hit. That don't mean that you good. Um, I'll start Monica. I'll bench Aaliyah and I'll cut Brandy because Aaliyah was able to get a lot out of different variation of what she did. Brandy was a better singer, but Aaliyah got a little bit more out of it. I give Monica that edge as a vocalist. But all 3 of them put together, that time came and went. So he had 3 songs. He had 3 songs, and 2 of them nobody cares about. If Ray J was to go do a versus, that thing would be over by the time you put the plug in the wall, his verse is over. Unless he goes up against because you know who he go up against. If he goes against Trey Songz, he gonna lose. He gonna lose. He goes against Amari. Notice I'm picking the bottom of the litter bag too. I'm not even going for no top tier. He ain't gonna be Bobby Valentino. Nobody wants to go see that tour. Ain't nobody gonna go see that tour. In fact, I heard from sources that they showed the tickets are struggling now to go. So nobody wants to go see that. Yeah, but it's kind of like peanut butter and jelly. It don't taste the same without the other. And them two, no one's gonna sweat them. They'd be better doing a reality TV show or a podcast. I did a video about her yesterday, and I still watch what's happening. She had quite a character on her, and she was cool, folks. And she didn't get starstruck about Hollywood. That's what I like about it too. Yep, cancer. It's tough for people who grew up on it because you thinking 2 weeks ago you lost Malcolm Jamal Warner, now her. It's like, wow. And they were prime focal kids in the neighborhood. Yep. Afraid so. Ernest Thomas still looks the same too. I follow him on Facebook, and so does the one and with Haywood Nelson. He posted it about her, and I almost thought it was hokey at first because I wanted some verification. Well, we're talking about the main people on what's happening. Because if you're talking about what's happening now, Anna Marie Johnson's still alive, and so is Martin. But I'm talking about the OG. The OG. Yep. The OG on what's happening is only Ryde and Dwayne. Because the mother and the father both have gone. And now and Rerun is gone. And now D. Yeah, Nadine was Anna Marie Johnson. She was in them Robert Townsend movies, Hollywood Shuffle and all that. Tall, light skinned sister. Funny. Sure. Probably be on for about 10 more minutes. I gotta work on some videos today, so we got 10 more minutes. They both were like two peas of the same pie. He's a diva and she was a diva. Nadine was Anna Marie Johnson's character on What's Happening Now. She's light skinned. Luther was always on folks. And Anita's always on folks. And they always have beef with everybody they tour with too, so it's hilarious. No. They don't really work because they got two different styles. Luther was more regretted, lost, and Anita was always longing for something. Maybe if they did nothing better than love, the one he did with Gregory Hines and her, but it has to be something. Yep. I sure do. That was funny. Thin chick, but she was cool though. She was cool. And always kind of played a certain role, but always kept the gig. And I liked her timing of humor too. Because I'll be honest with you, Anna Marie Johnson should have been as big as Tina Fey. She could do that type of comedy. I ain't lying. I ain't lying. But now Luther, oh, this is too easy. Now this is too easy because one of them is a dud, and they're going in the exact order. It's not even close. Golden Child was a duck. He lucky he came back with Come to America. Golden Child was his first goose egg at that time, but he was it and he got away. Trading Places is probably it moves me a lot. So there's a tough call because I like that a lot still. Oh, Don Robinson in the Blowout. It's just that Don has no. See, I get into these discussions. You can out sing somebody, but if you ain't got no feeling, and Mary got feeling. Mary was able to get it. Don could sing circles around Mary, but she ain't got no feeling. Better looking too, but got no feeling. Yeah, because Golden Child was gonna get that was a no brainer. That was a no brainer. It was the Asian girl is grown now, and I saw that. Yeah, Dee Dee was in there, and so was at the Anna Marie Johnson was too. Anna Marie Johnson was in that Dee Dee. Dee Dee didn't have a lot of roles after What's Happening. She became a veterinarian, and but Hollywood wasn't messing with her. She wasn't they type, and that's a whole lot of conversation on that. And she probably wasn't gonna play those games either. So yeah, Anna Marie Johnson was cool. Um, it depends on who you are, and depends on what your complexion is. Cause they do rewards if your complexion, and they won't. Dawn didn't have what she didn't have what Mary had. He was because his dancing, he was a locker, and he was known. Sometimes his ex-wife be on Storm and Rose show, and she talks about it. He did have personality, and he could dance. And the show was an odd show too, because it was a black show that didn't feel black. They did it in almost a pop vanilla way, but they didn't go in a traditional way, so it kind of came out in a different way, but it worked. It was catchy. He did have a large personality, and a lot of it because of the Jones in between him and Shirley Sherrill was what made it cool too. Oh, they did have great chemistry. I mean, Dwayne, hey, 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 and Ryde. You know, surely was the truth. Rerun versus Gary Coleman as far as what? More charismatic? That might be a future. It's not fair because Fred Berry, it wasn't seen the same as Gary Coleman. See, a better argument with Gary Coleman would have been like Jimmy Walker. What you talking about, Willis? Okay, Dynamite. There was no catchphrase for Rerun. His beret and his dancing and his colors was cool, but there was nothing there that would be that iconic. He didn't scream like Gary Coleman and JJ did. We love Rerun, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was funny, but I watched Fresh Prince more. It got corny, but I watch it more because when the whole thing with Gina and the whole thing when he ran her off the TV, I couldn't watch it the same. What do I care about preseason 4? I don't care. I'll watch it, but I don't care. I don't have no vested interest. It's always about a few players here and there. It's not gonna do much for me. They shouldn't have more than 3 weeks of preseason. They should pretty much know what they're gonna do. I like Martin a lot, but I just thought Fresh Prince had more detail. And plus, he spent about 70-80% of the show making adaptations of his own character, so that got kind of old. If I'm just saying. What's up, man? You coming on later? I will be here for about 10 more minutes though. But I'm glad to see you though. Yeah. Did you not see the separate they had them off the air together because she had a restraining order against him. She wasn't working on the same set with him. See, let me tell you something. If they really wanted to Me Too, they want to come after Martin Lawrence. That's what that our Lennox is doing right now. She's saying that Martin show and Bernie Mac show were offensive. Martin had a lot of stuff going on. Sador's hurt. Okay. Oh, it went pretty deep. And then he married a lookalike. I think his ex-wife went up marrying Emmett Smith or something because he had a look because she looked just like Tisha Campbell. Oh, he had it bad. He had it bad. Bad. Thanks, Tia, for that info. She didn't want to play the game. She ain't gonna play the game. If you don't play cheeks for checks, booty for looty, they ain't got no use for you. They messed around, but what happened was he got a little strong arm, and then it ended. And Tisha be playing the game too. Tisha a player. She can't always play like she's so hurt though, cause she be out there in them streets too. Cause a lot of people don't know that Tisha Campbell, back in the day, she was involved with Lenny Kravitz before she was doing School Days. Oh yeah, I mean look at the past year alone. This past year alone, Kyrie ain't gonna never have that kind of year the SGA had. Mm-mm. First of all, he too black to ever be in MVP considerations. You know that, right? That ship didn't sail. Second of all, he's at a stage where he will be at best the second best player because that's how he played the car role. He played the side role with LeBron. He tried to do that with Gordon Hayward in Boston. Did it with Durant. Now he had to do that with Luca. So no, because they were both you know, Damian was messing with something else. It wasn't, it was strictly business. Well, it's not just him staying healthy. It's just that the situations don't loan themselves. So much has to happen. Or you're going to see a lot of fire boom signs because they suck. I'm a Yankee fan, and it's tough to talk about it. It's tough to talk about. They're not that good. Sydney who and Shireen. Sydney or Shireen. On what show are we talking about? Because I know them names. I just ain't thinking. Emotional because they won a ring without him. And they got a guy in there who stayed and won. SGA got oh, Shireen, yo. Shireen was thick. I know Tisha looked good in it, but Shireen, it's about Shireen, yo. I had to think about that for a moment. Oh, Shireen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I never was that big on Tisha's a nice looking chick, but I ain't never been like gaga goo goo over her. She look good, but I ain't never was like, you know. Now, you weren't going to fire him after he lost to a World Series. They lost to a better team. That was not going to happen. They were lucky to even be in the World Series. But what's happening is that, no, I can't agree with that. They got to a World Series first time in about 14 years. That'd have been bad because you act like you got people lined up to coach the Yankees and you can win. And that's not the case. It's a tough job to take, and you got too much ego. Yeah, this year, but not during the World Series. AJ looked good. Yeah, AJ is still looking good. Well, it's on each and on. Boone don't know what he doing. He ain't no doctor. And besides, he came in an era where if you put the uniform on, you just played. Judge probably talked him into it. It's hard to say. Willie Randolph. I still don't know why he never got the job. I after what's going on with Dave Roberts in the Dodger land, I go look at Ozzie Smith or somebody. I would go look for somebody like that, shortstop or a guy that was they won't hire a brother. Okay, you know better than that. I know Bob Watson was a GM. They're not that progressive. They're not. Ron's white powder may have worked against him too in pinstripes. Just saying. But they don't do what you want them to do. They're not that progressive. I don't know if they missed him like that. None of Beyonce's albums are better than Michael. He wouldn't take that job. You know the rules about a great player and being a manager. We know how that usually goes. That don't end well. Larry Bird did really well. There's a few exceptions. That's not the norm. That's not the norm. None of them. That'd be a good choice. Or Andy Pettit, someone that has a cool demeanor. Mm-hmm. Might be somebody with a cool demeanor. The Mariners are doing great. And who's their manager? Dan Wilson. It used to be Dan Wilson. So, you get a catcher or a pitcher or a infielder like Girardi. Get somebody that's unassuming, except he was mediocre. Well, he'd expect maybe, maybe. There is no Beyonce album that's better than Michael Jackson's. None. Only her fans are delusional to think that. I still take it because there's no butterflies. Crazy in Love is better dance song. No, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. He is. He was. But most of the superstars are. That's not a surprise. It's just that It wouldn't work. We want to romanticize him. 7 trips to the World Series, 5 chips, and that's what we got to do with Jeter. He won. He came through. The other stuff, we just have to let that thing kind of go as it do. If I get cut off on this thing, I'm gonna conclude just so you guys know. So if it close off, I'm gonna be out because it gives me 2 hours on here. So just so you know, that's if it happens. If it don't happen, I'll keep going for a few more minutes. If it do, I'm gonna peace out. Yeah, I don't know if he'll get it, but he got a chance to get 60. But they're playing great though. MC Light probably because she was like the female version of Nas to me. I'd probably say MC Light. I did like Little Kim though. She could definitely go. That's some tight MCs for female MCs. My favorite female rappers are from back in the day though. I ain't heard nothing, you know. Well, yeah. So that makes the ISIS thing look suspect. That makes Trump's agenda look suspect. Think about it. You want to run everybody out, but all the sports, your best players are not from the states. So who's getting paid what? Of course they do. No, none of that. Rivera is a pitching coach, but not as no manager. No. No. Oh yeah, it's all true, Ted. On a stripper pole, I give you that. It's unmatched on a pole. I don't get the hype. She's okay. I don't see nothing special though. I ain't heard nothing special. Stripper, stripper, stripper. And before you say sexy red, stripper, stripper, stripper. It's called business as usual, Ted. Nikki can rap, but Nikki does that schizo thing. And it's not bad, but I'm not big on Nikki though. She ain't bad. It's just that she done so much booty music that no, Ted. So think about all that mess. Think about all that mess that they talk about MAGA and all they don't want this. Who's running baseball? Who's the best player in baseball right now? With an interpreter. I can't make this stuff up. They don't want brothers playing. Just saying. So you see it with your own eyes. That's what's up. That's what it is. Pole dancers who are getting over gyrating. They ain't making that ain't that's all it is. That's all it is when I see Cardi B. That's all it is. It's stripper, it's loungy. That's all it is. And if you got a pole and you can bust a couple lines, you can be on here too. I mean, that's what they're saying. You know, they're not the aesthetic. Yep. Skilo. Because I'll listen to that. But the tag team part was more catchy though. But I like listening to Skilo. Yep. I don't think nothing about Meg Thee Stallion. They didn't got her body in shape and then she messed up with Clay Thompson. But nothing special. Okay, I'll be on for just a few more minutes. It's going good. He ain't gonna be careful. Clay's for the streets, yo. Clay been out there. Clay been out there. He's in his best element. He trying to get some shine. He playing for Dallas, so gotta have something to shine with. I don't like none of what I see out now. That was a catchy song. No, he ain't like Wilt. He too corny to be like Wilt. Clay ain't got no personality. I like Clay a lot. He ain't got no personality. I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, because we just talking about Mac and he ain't no Mac. He's a thought. They both thoughts, but Wilt did it with style. Doja Cat's corny, and her time is up. Clay, look, he's so happy to get a camera on him. Probably about 2 or 3 more years till he gets to 40. I give him that. I think 30,000 points. You get a chance to stat pad. Maybe get a little playoff run if they can get a piece. But I don't see nothing. I don't see no chips. I see if he can stay healthy, he gets 30,000 points, and then the debates go on, and you know that's what I see. But if he wins a ring and he gets 30,000 points, then we're looking at how you got to hope Cooper Flag turns up, Anthony Davis stays healthy. You got a lot to ask for in Dallas. I don't see no ring there. Bust a move. You trying to go back? Clay ain't getting no ring. Dallas says not. Dallas might be a fourth, fifth, if Anthony Davis ever stayed healthy. You already said bust a move. I used to listen to it all the time back in the day, and Young MC's still around. No, I just it's memory, yo. Cause lyrics used to be like that. He will be a Hall of Famer, but we won't really know. Did we get everything we could have gotten out of Clay? See, Clay's a strange situation. Cause he's like it's almost like Kawhi Leonard got more out of himself than Clay did. It's kind of hard to explain when I talk about Clay. I give Steph 3 more years and 2 more where he can look over. Mariah Carey, that's not even a good question. Ariana Grande is a double broke Junior Whopper version of Mariah. And she ain't got nothing memorable to half of Mariah. Cute, but light in the cakes. And if you bring people up like that, then Mariah looks like she's something. Now I don't give Steph more than 2 or 3 more. I think 2 more years, third year option. I know LeBron is gonna be retiring soon. And I know Durant's probably got 2 more years and he's going. Cause I can't see these cats playing past their 40. LeBron, yeah, not Steph and not LeBron and not KD and Curry. Michael Jackson's gonna start. That's a no-brainer. And then Usher's off the bench, and then the weekend is last. Come on, you gotta do better than that. That's cap. That's pretty bad. And Michael's far ahead of both them two turkeys put together. But Usher, I will give second because Usher can perform. It was all right. She couldn't do no better than Christina Aguilera. Nobody's touching Whitney's. What's up? I'm gonna be on here for a couple minutes. I only got everybody's coming through right when I'm getting ready to split. I got about 5 more minutes. I'll give you 5. What's happening? Yeah, but he got Jimmy Butler. He got Draymond, who's old. You got uncertain bench, and you stuck with what's his name? Who was playing? Who was shooting for them last year? Shooting those threes. Come on now, help me out. He too inconsistent as a 3-point shooter. He peaking. He can get hot and he can get cold. I'm not even thinking right now where he was a Golden State last year, but he's too streaky. So they got their work cut off for them. They lighten the cakes. Kamingas is if they ever do, I just don't like. And Kerr doesn't work with younger players, right? And I just don't. Buddy Hield's too inconsistent. One minute he looked like a steal. The next minute you want to sit his butt down. That's not gonna cut it. Jimmy Butler ain't a pure scorer. Problematic. Draymond's getting old, and he already he can't get what they got. So Buddy Hield ain't that good right now. He's too inconsistent. So I'm not I'm not sold on I can see him playing 2 or 3 more years. Can get to 30,000 points. I think Steph got a chance to stat pad real good, which I'm not gonna hold against him because he's got 4 chips in the 6 finals. He ain't gotta do nothing else. But if he wins another ring, then top 5 debates is open. Especially if he comes up like he did against Boston. But I'm betting a man to a mouth. I don't see that happening. Not with that squad. Not with that squad. I don't even talk about Keke Palmer. She's a cute act. And I saw that corny movie with her and Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson. And I think I wasted about an hour. Cute act with nothing else better to do. So I don't know. No. She's a cute act. No one's gonna buy it. Keke Palmer won't even make you forget Kelly Rowland. Okay. So you mentioned somebody random that happens to be an actress and does a little bit of this, and I still take Shantae Moore over her, and I still take Shawnice Wilson. Kiki ain't even on that level, and you don't have a deep level right now. So I will start SZA, and then I would bench Jasmine Sullivan. I cut Tanya Taylor. Keke Palmer is corny. Kiki Wyatt can sing, but Kiki Wyatt ain't got the kind of material, and she ain't gonna get no kind of push. Okay, I will be leaving in about 5 minutes, so just so you know. Yeah, but you keep acting like dancing is gonna come when I gotta listen to you straining. Can't do nothing with that. I want people to be able to sing and dance, or do one or the other and call it a day. Anyway, I'll be on for about. I got about a couple more minutes. Oh Lord, are you really for real? I'm gonna start Dave Hollister and the rest of them too. I mean, I guess I will bench Carl Thomas. He had better songs, but Avon had a better voice. But Avon was a double broke R. Kelly. But Dave Hollister and a blowout over both of them. Carl Thomas had a couple songs I liked. I just didn't like his voice though. Paula Patton was a nice looking chick with no personality, no charisma, no talent. Look good though, but stiff and dry as a doorknob. Like her look though, but not the most talent. Not just a stiff actress. You know, nice looking, but ain't got no. Like what am I gonna do with what I'm watching on the screen? It don't move. Just keeping it 100. But Hollister blows them turkeys out the water. I happened to watch that mess last week, and I was like, oh God, because Pete Davis I knew was corny. That's a good question. McKnight's got more talent, but Maxwell had the better career. That's how I would put it. So Maxwell, but McKnight had the better talent, but he just didn't. He got old too soon, and he never outgrew the '90s, and he didn't end up doing adult contemporary. and he couldn't really change it. Talent-wise, he blows Maxwell out the water. I seen that cat do classical and jazz. Tina Marie in a blowout and twice on Tuesday. Come on now. Karen White was a nice, cute act. It's not in the same ballpark. That's why I gotta give it a go. You can't be naming Buster. You know, you gotta make them something. That's not good. Sherelle, better singer. Karen White's best stuff was with Babyface. Karen White did her best stuff with Babyface, and he won't even sing with her no more. Okay, I got 3 minutes before I roll. Appreciate everybody that came through today, though, and taking the poll. Great poll. Sure wouldn't mind one more like, though. We closing in on double digits. That would be nice, though. But I'll be on for a couple more minutes. Yeah. I'll probably be back. Friday's a question mark. Definitely back Saturday. So, got stuff I got to do. But I appreciate everybody that came through, though. And I'm working on some projects as usual. Yeah, a lot of people come through today. Appreciate some people I ain't seen in a minute, too. They were cute, broke. The Babyface got attacked. That actually, the Mark Nelson was the dude who was in Boys to Men, but you know, when you do them Babyface songs, and you know, you third tier act, what you gonna do? They paid the bills. Okay. I will have this one put up online. I appreciate when it came through today. So I got 1 more minute before I officially call it a day. He's got some talent. He was influenced by Prince and Tom Petty and Babyface. And he was not a bad songwriter. You know, he did some work with L.A. Reid, but he thought much more of himself than what he was. He was all right. You know, he was all right. I did like the medley him did with D'Angelo, the Stevie Wonder medley they did on the Grammys, though. See, this ain't even funny, Charlene, because Raphael's a better talent, but Keith Sweat got a better solo career, and it ain't even close. Raphael's more talented, but this is a classic example. If Raphael Sadiq had the half of Keith Sweat's solo career, he'd have given R. Kelly a run. He'd have been probably the man. I didn't sleep on it. It slept on me. No. Rome was a broke Keith Washington, broke Freddie Jackson. It was cute. Don't sleep on nothing. You act like I missed on something that was there. You act like he was Rashawn Patterson or something. You know Rashawn Patterson, Stop On By? That was something to bop to. Rome's album, it was in the Freddie Jackson low mode of Keith Washington. Basically, you're going to be like a triple junior broke whopper version of Luther. No, no, thank you. So now, appreciate you too, and thank you for coming through. Appreciate all. Great to see you, cats. Like I told you before, if you want to find me, keep following me up on Facebook too. Cause like if you want to stay in touch and you let me know you on, that's another way of contacting me. Cause that's what me and Charlene did too. Follow me on Facebook and or Instagram, whatever, and I can let you know when I'm on. So it was a great live show, great conversation. Some bringing up some acts I ain't heard of in a while. Some funny ones. That's not a fair comparison because it's two different things. Well, if you want to go there and you just want to throw it out there, I'm taking them to me. Because Tony never had better, a more memorable song than Juicy Fruit. And James M. Toomey was a better producer than Raphael Sadiq. That's not fair. The more versatile musician. I listened to Tony probably more of the two, but then Toomey hit with the bigger song and had a more impact. So, on that note, I'm going to call it a day. Appreciate everybody that came through. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Appreciate you. Thanks for taking the poll, hitting the likes. And the video will be up. So if you want to look at it again, and I'll put them up on some more. Thank you. Peace.